5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Level up, level up, level up, level up, level up, level up.
Hey Glam Gods, welcome to my channel. It's Tia Dior. I'm super excited to give y'all my first tutorial. I've been working on this for so long and I finally got it done. But today I'm going to be giving you guys this natural beat. It's very glowy, very simple, very affordable. Anybody can pull this off. I know I posted a video last week and it was introducing that I would have a pink and blue cut crease tutorial coming out, but instead I decided to do something like this because I feel like everybody can use this look on an everyday basis. So without further ado, let's go ahead and let's get into this look. For starters, I'm just gonna go ahead and clean up my brows real quick. You'll see me brush them out and razor them up, just to clean up any stray hairs that I may have straggling along. You know, we need these natural brows on fleek before we fill them in. To actually fill my brows in, I'll be going in with the L'Oreal Paris Infallible Lacquer Liner. This is in the shade Espresso. As you can see, I'm just taking my angle brush and I'm lining the bottom of my eyebrow, following the natural shape that's already there. I'm not making them any thicker or fuller than they already are. And that's because for the most part, I really do like a thin brow. So now you just see me taking this angle brush and I'm lining the top part of my eyebrow. When I was at the end of my eyebrow, pay attention to how hard I pressed. And as I'm at the beginning of my brow right here, I try not to press so hard with my brush because I want to create that gradient effect with my eyebrows. Nobody wants Sharpie looking eyebrows. That is so ugly. It's 2019, we not doing that. So another tip that I want to throw out there is when you're lining the bottom of your brow, it's better if you start a little bit behind where the hairs of your eyebrow actually, you know, start coming out. And this is so that it's not so dark right there. If you don't touch it, then you don't have anything to worry about. And another thing, the more precise you are when you're filling your brows in, the less work you have to do later. It just makes your job easier. For this next part, you're going to see me cleaning up my eyebrows with concealer. The concealer that I'm using today is going to be from the Maybelline Color Correcting Kit. These don't have names. I'm just using a shade that is closest to my complexion. I like to use a shade like this first so that I can avoid creating that halo effect around my eyebrows. I don't know, I just don't care for that. To me, it's ugly, and like I said, I want to keep this look as natural as possible, so that helps.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Level up, level up.
And just to throw this in there, when I'm doing this part, basically like concealing my eyebrows, I really like to use an angle brush. I know I've seen plenty of tutorials where people use like a concealer brush and they just flatten it out. I've seen people use a flat brush. To me, I always get the best results with an angle brush, but it's completely your preference. This is just what I suggest. Then just to finish these up, you just want to brush those hairs out in the very beginning. Next, I'm about to take this LA Girl Pro concealer in the shade Toffee, and I'm placing this all over my eyelids. This is, again, a shade that is basically the same color as my skin complexion, maybe a little bit lighter, to go ahead and brighten up my eyes because it's just looking a little tired right now. So now that I've applied my darker shade under my brow bone, I'm going to go ahead and take my highlighting shade, and I'm using the Maybelline Superstay foundation in the shade Golden Dore. I know this is a foundation, but to me it just gives me concealer vibes because of the consistency, and then the fact that it's Superstay. It's very long wear, so I don't have any issues with creasing when I use this right under there. I'm really not sure why I felt the need to continue to apply this concealer with this little ankle brush, but in real life I suggest using a concealer brush. If you have one, it'll save you some time. And then to blend everything out, I'm using patting motions, and the brush that I'm using is a blending brush from Real Techniques. To set my eyes, I'm taking my Real Techniques fluffy contouring brush and I'm applying some Sacha Buttercup setting powder to go ahead and get rid of any creasing that might happen. And let's just say you don't have a setting powder at home, a pressed powder in your shade or a translucent powder should be just fine for that part. To prime my face, I'm using the Maybelline Master Prime Primer in 400. This one helps a lot to minimize your pores, and then it also helps with blurring any imperfections that you have on your face, like dark spots or dryness. For foundation, I'll be using my Fenty Beauty Foundation in the shade 420, and then I'll also be using my Maybelline Fit Me Foundation in the shade 330. The reason that I mix these two together is because I like the fact that my Fenty Beauty one is full coverage. And then I also think that it's too dark for me now. That's really my summer shade, but when I mix it with the other one, it gives me the perfect shade for now. I suggest using light patting motions to go ahead and blend that in. And on days when I'm not using this blending brush to blend my foundation in, another technique that I use is using a damp blending sponge, blending beauty sponge, beauty blender sponge, however you want to say it. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But you basically want to make sure that it's damp with warm water. And the reason for that is the moisture that's in that sponge is really just going to help melt that foundation into the skin. In my opinion, the beauty blending sponge does give a very seamless satin finish, but today I'm just going to be using this brush so we can move it on along. So the next step is going to be to highlight under the eyes. To highlight, I'm using that same shade that I used under my brows, which was the Maybelline Superstay foundation that I said was kind of like a concealer. To apply it, I'm using a Real Techniques pointed foundation brush, and then to blend that out, I'm using their fluffy contouring brush. To set this, I'm using my Sacha Buttercup setting powder, and this step is so important because just like the eyelids, you can crease under your eyes as well, so it's very important that you set it with something. It doesn't have to be a setting powder. You can do a pressed powder or a translucent powder. I'm taking that same shade and that same brush, and I'm just highlighting the bridge of my nose real quick.
3, 2, 1.
Next, you'll see me going in with this dark pressed powder, and this is to further contour my nose. On this part, if you choose to do this step, it's really important that you be careful with your blending because this can easily turn into a muddy mess and your nose won't look contoured, it'll just look weird. So be careful and be very precise about where you're applying that contouring shade versus the highlighting shade. I'm using the same shade to go ahead and sculpt out my cheeks. And the reason behind me making this weird face is so that I can see where the definition in my cheekbones naturally lies on my face. And if you can tell, I'm not using a straight line. I kind of curved it a little bit, and that's to help sculpt out the apples of my cheeks. I'm going to use the same shade again just to apply it to my forehead, and this gives the illusion that I have a smaller forehead. Not that it was huge or nothing to begin with, but yeah. I know those lines on my cheeks look kind of harsh, but we're going to fix that shortly. Underneath my cheek contour, I'm using the Sacha Buttercup setting powder and my beauty blending sponge just to go ahead and set that foundation that's under there. And then I'm going to be taking this black Radiance pressed powder in the shade Creamy Beige, which is basically the same color as my skin. And I'm blending out those harsh lines, doing the same thing on my forehead and setting my forehead with that Sacha Buttercup setting powder. For highlighter, I'll be using the Sleek Highlighter palette. And these shades don't have names, but I'm using the gold shade that's in this palette. And you see me just getting the apples of my cheeks, and then I'm also dragging it up to the end of my eyebrow. So real quick, for my beginners, I just want to cover all the typical places that you would highlight on your face. And it's your cheeks, your forehead, the bridge of your nose, the very tip of your nose, the inner corners of your eyes, your brow bone, your cupid's bow, and your chin. And as you can see, I hit all of those places on my face. The next thing I'm going to do is take this rosy pink shade from the Juvia's Play Zulu palette and apply that to my cheeks, which is going to be like my blush. And it works really well, even though it's an eyeshadow. And since I couldn't find my dark brown lip liner, I'm using this brow pencil from Jordana just to go ahead and line my lips. works the same. The color that I'm using to fill my lips in with is Soap & Glory's Lip Contouring Crayon in the shade Rhubarbella. And I'm just taking a real small brush to go ahead and blend that in perfectly with. For some shine, I'm going to go ahead and apply my Collab Easy Glowing Lip Gloss. And it's kind of like a glittery gloss. I'm pretty sure I got it from Sally's, by the way. Next, to get these lashes together, I'm going to go ahead and use the L'Oreal Superstar Xfiber Mascara. I didn't want to put any lashes on because I wanted this look to be as natural as possible. And I kind of want to do a separate video on how to apply lashes because that's a question I get all the time. So yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and apply this mascara. And this is like my favorite mascara because it literally looks like you put on fake lashes afterwards. To complete this face, I'm just going to spray on my Urban Decay De-Slick Setting Spray. And then you guys get to see the finished look.
See me as a prayer, nothing I'm afraid of, and I can have it all. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Level up, level up, level up, level up, level up.
I really hope y'all love this look just as much as I did, and I hope y'all liked it being my first choice for my first tutorial instead of that other one, because I've been working on this for so long and I was so excited to get it out to y'all. I got big plans for more tutorials and I can't wait to teach y'all more stuff. If it's something that you want to learn that I didn't cover in this video, leave me a comment down in the comment section below. If you got any questions, leave those down in the comment section below. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. Make sure y'all hit that notification bell because my channel is new and I need all those subscribers. And thanks for watching, y'all.